Chris from Sex.
Party, evening here.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Exactly that. Yeah, we give them 2 goals, well 3 goals in the game we've given them through individual error, or not being competitive enough in 3 of those goals. 2 of the others are good finishes, if I'm honest, from what they do. Yeah, and then we bring ourselves in the game again. We've had moments in the first half, large moments in the second half with control, but we've got to start removing these errors because we're getting punished for them every time now.
What do you put that down to? It felt very similar to last week against City as well. And the team now over the last 2 games conceding 10, and you're not a team used to losing games, and that's 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think you can put it down to a lot of things in terms of experience, occasions. Have we been in these enough? Have we grown from mentality in these from previously? We've definitely grown in mentality and character from not quitting, not giving up, because previously we would have probably just dropped our shoulders and dropped our heads and kind of given. We kept pushing the game, we kept playing the way we wanted to play, and it's just about removing these errors now, and the players realising that, us as staff working on that with them to take them away. And but what we can't dismiss is it doesn't make you a bad team overnight because you have a couple of defeats where we're second to bottom, going to get relegated, and we're sitting in 5th. If you'd have asked me that at the start of the year when everyone put the predictions out, you said we were going to finish second to bottom, nearly every single person.
I'll just ask you about Beth because you made a 200th WSL appearance today. Obviously got it well.
Yeah, really good. And for anyone who makes 200 WSL appearances, it's a huge achievement and huge honour for Beth, because there's only a small amount of games in each season, and it takes a lot to be able to do that. And yeah, she's done that at numerous clubs now, and then comes in and gets a goal which you want from someone who's going to come in and impact the game, someone to get us in a position to do that, and she does that. And yeah, we then kept pushing. Signa had the chance, and we had a couple more moments. Beth had a header, and that maybe would have turned the tie a little bit, but then we give the ball away cheaply in the middle of the pitch and we get punished. And I think every individual error at the moment we're getting punished for.
Oh, we'll go with Charlotte, then Sonia.
Just continuing on about Beth England. Chris has highlighted what she does on the pitch.
Yeah.
Talk to me about her importance off the pitch, particularly as you're saying you need those experienced players as well on days like today.
Yeah, you need them. I think players who've been in that position, who've played a lot of minutes, who've had these experiences and occasions before, and the way they lead and how they lead is important. How they pull the group through moments like this when you're not winning games, but also how they lead by example. How they lead by example on the pitch, off the pitch, with how they do things day to day. And yeah, she continually does that.
The starting lineup maybe surprised a few people. No Beth England and no Evelina Suminen. Can you explain what your thinking was with that?
Yeah. Just what we thought for the game, how we thought they would set up, and the best players to get in the best positions to affect the game, and I thought we did that in large parts in the first half. I thought even when they stepped on and pressed, there was a couple of moments where we struggled, but most of the time we broke down their pressure and then we got up the pitch, but we didn't sustain the attacks. So yeah, more from a tactical perspective of what I thought the game would play like, and then how we want to finish it.
I guess I'm disappointed because you basically that first 7 minutes where it almost kind of fell away, and also a couple of times you got back in the game and then conceded again. That errors, that mentality, they're pivotal moments, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pivotal moments in a game because the tide can turn either way and momentum can change. But the individual errors, you see them, the individual errors in the game that we give them in that first part of the game, we give them 2, and then we give them 1 at the back end of the game now when you're pushing. But we have to make sure now we take accountability as a team, players and staff. We own them now and we keep pushing forward.
And just finally, is it frustrating for you that you still can't beat the quote-unquote big four? I know you never like it when I use that phrase, but you know who I mean. Yeah. Is that an ongoing frustration that you keep having days like today? Yeah,
of course it's frustrating because I never want to lose, and I feel we're in large moments. You've seen, I think we put like 40 passes together without them touching the ball, and I don't think many teams do that to these teams. So we're getting in the right moments, we're having the ball, we're gaining respect, but we're just not at that level yet to be able to really push these. And I've said this since the start, and that's just being realistic, and we have to be realistic. We're not at that level yet, and until we understand that and accept that, then we'll actually take steps, and we understand it within. But because we sit in 5th, everyone thinks we're going to push the Champions League, and we ain't. We're not at that level yet. We're at the level where we are because of where we finished last year, and we need to understand that if we're going to take the right steps, then we need to build this team for the future.
How are you? I was wondering how you reflect on, obviously it was the same scoreline this week as last week, but how you can compare the two matches from the perspective?
Probably second halves again. We're better in both second halves, but I think first half, even today, we were, apart from the goals before that, we had the ball, we were in good positions, we pushed them back. Our higher pressure was good in large moments. So I think we started the game better. The two moments, if you take them away, I thought the first half we were okay. I thought we done better than we did last week, if I'm being honest. And then second half we pushed again, and we pushed the game. We had more control than they did in the second half, I felt. We regained higher with some of the pressure. We put them under more pressure. We were more brave to step on and press. But then the individual errors kill you, because if you take them out the game, the 3 goals, it ends up 2-2. But at the end of the day, it doesn't.
I wanted to ask you about the goalkeeping mistake,
Yeah.
the goal that came like it was 2-1 at that point, and that really sort of changed the course of it.
Yeah, they're pivotal moments, but that's my responsibility. I ask Lisa to play that way, and I ask Lisa to build out and play with her feet, and she has to make those decisions. And if she makes a decision and gets it wrong, that's my responsibility, because I'm asking her to play that way. And there'll be times where she does and it comes off. But I think at the moment, the games we've been in recently, every individual error we're making, we're getting punished for, and sometimes you have those moments. But that's for me to make sure that I challenge the players and we lift the players and work with them to take them out. But I'm not unpleased or displeased with anyone, because actually they're giving absolutely everything. Maybe when you come to play these teams, if you want to call the top 4, that's maybe just a step at this moment in time where we're trying to overcome, and I have no doubt going into next year that we'll be in a such better space from it.
And what's your sort of challenge going forwards now after these 2 defeats? How do you lift your side back up for next week?
Yeah, to win. And I think if you're in a quarter final of a cup and you're playing another team again, big team if you want to call it, like Chelsea, then we need to make sure we go into that game and push, because even against Chelsea we've had really good games against them in both. It's more for, if we can't get ourselves up for a quarter final, then we shouldn't be at this club, because this club should be winning, should be competing at those stages. And I have no doubts the players will be motivated for that game, and they'll be deflated from this. But again, we look back at it with the individual part that maybe is killing us. But everything, as I said, every individual error at the moment is getting punished.
A couple of minutes, we'll keep it to 2 each. If we can go to you, then Soph, then Tom.
Yeah.
Commiserations there, Martin, for the defeat. But in terms of looking at what you can control moving forward, Olivia Smith, or let's say Russo, particularly Olivia Smith, was constantly finding space between the lines and in the half space, and the back line looked confused on who to pick up with. So how do you think what went wrong, and how do you address that moving forward?
We have to commit to it, because we knew they play the same structure when they build up, and we've done it all week in terms of us getting across the pitch quicker, the centre back stepping in. And we spoke about it in terms of the responsibilities, and if you look at the moments, we're too hesitant to go in and not go in, and then actually when we do fully commit and we go in, we're regaining the ball or we're forcing them backwards. But you can't do half and half positions, and I thought we found that really early on in the game. We found too many half positions, but as it went on, we found better positions to get close enough, and that was probably the only thing I thought. And in the end, we got in good positions. But what you're not going to stop is maybe the ball down the side into the channel, into Alessia or into Olivia Smith when she was in that central position. Sometimes when it goes into the 9, you have to accept if you're going to press, then there's going to be moments, but we have to be prepared to defend 1v1.
So it's more of a thing of inspiring confidence for them to commit.
And it's more just to committing to actually what we do. Don't be decisive in the moment, and actually step in, and if we're brave enough to defend forward and not worry about the threat, which I know we will be because their speed and their kind of directness, but we have to be prepared to step in and commit, because if you don't commit, then other people around you has a knock-on effect. I thought when we got to grips with that, we were fine, especially second half and large parts of the back end of the first half.
So,
I was just going to ask about, I know you say it's down to individual errors and stuff, but in the last 2 games we've seen a lot of balls come in over and the aerial threat, and maybe not able to defend that well enough.
Yeah.
What has been the process around
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. We've had to change a bit of personnel, and that's not an excuse, because I won't make an excuse up for us. The players are good enough to go on the pitch and perform, and we're maybe half a yard out of position for the cross to the back post to win the first contact. It just goes over us on the set play. Hannah actually gets tripped before she goes in for it to get close on Alessia, and then the Lisa's one in the middle. But even from the crosses, we were better in terms of from the last game. But I feel every time we yeah, we're out by half a yard, we're getting punished. And there was some moments we had in the game here where they were probably half a yard out, but we didn't punish it. So yeah, we've done work on it. We know what it is, and it's about in those moments the players learning from previous and applying it when they get into the game, and not being fearful of knowing when that ball goes in the box that you've got to be committed to go and win the first contact. And some of them at the moment we're not getting by.
And Tom.
Hi Martin. So it's a disappointing result today, but I wanted to ask for your perspective, because obviously Spurs have at the Emirates never scored before, and so they scored twice today. You know, how do you take those? Obviously that's a big bit of progress to have. How do you still take those despite the result today?
Yeah, there's large positives to take if you think of how we've played and what we've done, how we've performed in the game. We've come to the best in the world, if we're honest, around the team, who they are and what they've achieved over the last 6 to 12 months. And we pushed them back in large moments, and speaking to some of the players and staff then, they're saying the same in terms of you feel like you're this close but you feel like you're this far away still. And we can take a lot from it. I thought a lot of our football, we were brave, we connected really well in large parts of the second half. First half we pushed them back and got in good positions, but the final delivery and action we just didn't have the execution with. So there's large parts we can take, and this will give us good experience, good momentum, but it'll also help us going into next year when we step on and we evolve from the summer onwards. We'll become a better team from these moments.